practice in Illinois. He is also a member of the American Association of Naturopathic Physicians and Illinois Association of Naturopathic Physicians. But he's really an expert on minerals, vitamins, all sorts of stuff, and he gives lectures all over the world, and he joins us now, and he's also consults and works with us there on the websites InfoWarsHealth.com and InfoWarsTeam.com, and he joins us now. But first, Doc, let me bring this up here to you. What is your take on psychiatry and the Prozac drugs they're pushing? I've been tracking the record number of 28 suicides of troops and veterans a day. I mean, it's massive. I talked to Dr. Pachinik, who is a psychiatrist, last night, and he said, you know, I mean, he basically agreed a lot of these psychotropic drugs are helping trigger this. On the insert of these drugs, it says it can cause psychotic breaks. But now they're going to use suicides and a few shootings by veterans to try to say all veterans are bad. I mean, next, if auto mechanics do something wrong, will they all go to jail then? Or if a dentist robs a bank, will all dentists then be under suspicion? I mean, this is pretty darn amazing. You're not supposed to discriminate on race or religion, but it's okay to discriminate if you're a veteran. You're now the #1 threat, Homeland Security says. What's your view on psychiatry now grabbing people for their free speech nationwide?
Well, it's the height of hypocrisy, because the leading cause of death in the United States, to the tune of 780,000 people a year, are treatments delivered by MDs. Your MD is more dangerous than cancer. Your MD is more dangerous than a serial killer with a gun. Your MD is the leading cause of death in the United States. And we have a funny saying about psychiatry in the wonderful world of holistic medicine. Here's the way the joke goes. What's the difference between a psychiatrist and a psychologist? Well, a psychologist is a person in a completely black room looking for a black cat. And a psychiatrist is a person in a completely black room looking for a black cat that's not there.
Oh, man. Well, I mean, so many times it turns out, as you know, big studies are out confirming this, but they've known for 200 years. Somebody's worked around lead, mercury, you name it. They're brain damaged. They're mad as a hatter. And it's chemically induced schizophrenia, but they don't even look or test their blood to see if it's heavy metals causing them to be having problems. They just immediately put them on a bunch of drugs.
See, this is the problem. This brings up the perfect point, because MDs, bless their hearts, are not trained in medical science. Nobody is. MDs are trained in one very small piece of the pie of medical science, and the piece of the pie that the MD is trained in is referred to as reductionistic allopathic pharmaceutical medicine. The MD does not believe your body has the ability to fix itself. The MD, like a communist, believes that once you're sick, you're screwed, and the only option you have is to march in with a synthetic drug that overrides, overpowers, and controls the metabolism of your body. And, you know, MD-directed medicine is really great for trauma. It's fantastic for surgery when it's indicated, and it's, you know, for a handful of infectious diseases. But for goodness sake, for most of the things that most people go to the doctor for most of the time, including depression and attention deficit disorder and psychiatric conditions, bringing your body to an MD is a fool's errand, and you're going to suffer, and then you're going to die.
Now, let's go over those numbers. I noticed that John Rappaport at No More Fake News did a report that even on the Food and Drug Administration's own website, they were saying that hospitals and doctors are the #3 killer in the country. You know, bad drug prescriptions, infections, all this. But you've compiled the numbers. I mean, it looks like they are #1. The most dangerous thing is a doctor's office or a hospital. I mean, I've got so many friends and people that go in to have a minor surgery and are dead in a week from an infection.
Andy Rooney, I mean, he was the most recent, the most famous, right? Andy Rooney, they wouldn't tell us what the minor procedure was, but they say, oh, he died from the results, complications of a minor, you know, hospital procedure. If you want to check out the numbers, there was an exhaustive 45-page report. This draws statistics from the New England Journal of Medicine, the Journal of the American Medical Association, the Lancet, for goodness sake. These are extremely prestigious medical journals. Here's how the numbers crunch, and you can download this document for free on my website. That's fireyourmdnow.com. You can download it for free. It's called Death by Medicine. MD treatment, 780,000 people a year are killed by MD treatments. Heart disease, 698,000 people a year, and cancer 550,000 people a year, which means your medical doctor, by the numbers, is more dangerous than cancer and more dangerous than heart disease. And this is the billion-pound gorilla in the middle of the country that nobody is talking about. We are having a healthcare crisis of biblical proportions in this country. It is not because of pharmaceutical profiteering. It is not because of insurance fraud. It is not because of a for-profit medical industry. It is for one reason and one reason only. The treatments delivered for chronic disease by MDs do not work. They don't work. And not only do they not work, but they cause harm in the process.
Well, since you were last on, it's come out that Merck knew its MMR shot was giving people the measles, mumps, rubella. The whooping cop was giving it to them. And they're like, this is great because then we get cases and people get scared and go out and get it. This argument that we've got to take vaccines because we'll make you sick that are vaccinated. Hey, morons, you have been vaccinated. I mean, again, the GlaxoSmithKline came out that with dozens and dozens of drugs, they knew zero help killing people, like their asthma drug. I mean, how many times do these companies have to be caught shipping tainted blood they know has HIV for 11 years? Bayer. How many times Gardasil killing people? I mean, they just keep doubling down. Now in California, giving kids shots without parental consent in schools. I mean, this is a flaming group of murderers coming after us, and I'm sick of it.
And nobody goes to jail. 3,000 people die in the Twin Towers. We go to war. 780,000 people a year are killed by MD treatment, so we don't bat a freaking eyelash. As a matter of fact, we partition the government to give us more access, to pay for access to this kind of health care. It's nonsense. It is nonsense. We have gone down the rabbit hole of our genuflection at the altar of the MD king of medicine for 100 years now, and it is quite
people worship it. Why don't you, in fact, I'm going to bow to him right now. Oh, you're so good. Give us more Factor 8 filled with HIV and hepatitis. Oh, you're so good. More Gardasil doesn't protect us from the papillomavirus, but kills you. Oh, thank you. Thank you for the fluoride. Harvard admits fluoride in dozens of studies is brain damaging, is causing bone cancer. They did that in the 20s. The Soviets, the Nazis put it in the water. That's in Pulitzer Prize-winning books by sure. And now they admit it, but they don't take it out. Talk about fluoride. Look, this isn't by accident. The doctors are dumbed down and compartmentalized. They're killing us. We have the documents. Talk about the history of it. Let's talk about the history briefly and then get in to some of the latest stuff. But, I mean, you break it down. Explain how the Rockefellers set all this up.
All right, well, in the 1800s, in the early 1900s, there was a relatively even playing field of medicine in the U.S. Nobody had the upper hand, right? You had the MDs, you had the chiropractors, you had the osteopaths, you had the naturopaths, you had the homeopaths, you had the herbalists. Nobody had the upper hand. And then in 1910, the Carnegie Institute, followed in turn by the Rockefeller Foundation, funded a gentleman named Abraham Flexner to go all around the country. Now, keep in mind, this was, at the dawn of the interstate highway system, right? It took Flexner 5 years. He went all around the country, did it on train and stagecoach and horseback. It took him 5 years. He did an inventory of all of the hospitals and all of the medical schools in the United States that prescribed drugs. Why? Because the Carnegies and the Rockefellers owned the drug companies. So he brings his list back, infamously referred to as the Flexner Report, gives it to the Carnegies. The Carnegies give millions of dollars, and this was in early 1900s when $1 million really was $1 million. Millions of dollars of free money to the medical schools and the hospitals which prescribed drugs. Now, if you're starting a business and I'm starting a business and you get $1 million of free money and I don't, guess who's going to have the more successful business? You are. This was the beginning of the end for medicine in the United States. This tipped the scales, the Flexner Report, and the funneling of millions of dollars of money into the hands of the MDs, into the hospitals that prescribe drugs, was the tipping point of medicine in the United States. And after the Flexner Report, right around 1920, the balance of power shifted and the MDs started to control the medical marketplace, and that is the only reason that the MDs are in power now. Now, bless their hearts, they're really good for trauma, they're really good for surgery, but they're also the leading cause of death in the United States. But the only system of medicine we have access to, the only system of medicine that your insurance pays for, the only system of medicine that they make TV shows about or teach you anything about is MD-directed medicine. And most people think that the MDs are top dog because their therapeutics must be better, must be safer, must be more scientific. No. The only reason the MDs are in the driver's seat is because of financial and political coalitions built at the turn of the century that everybody's forgotten about, and we are dying because of it.
Well, you're absolutely right, and I want to continue going through the history, but also want to intersperse a bit of infomercialing here because it funds our operation, but that's secondary. It's because I've researched a lot of vitamins, a lot of minerals, and I want to address something here with you. I'm going to spring this on you and get your take on it. I mean, I know my dad's take, who actually is a doctor of dental surgery, but he was telling me this when I was a kid, and my research shows it. But the best stuff out there is longevity. We have it discounted at InfoWarsTeam.com. We've launched the new site, which is a little bit easier to use, InfoWarsHealth.com. It's got Aaron Dykes losing 92 pounds on polymers, Beyond Tangy Tangerine, the essential fatty acids, and the rest of it. It's all there. None of this is even advertised as weight loss. I've lost over 40 pounds. In fact, I've never been somebody that just constantly takes stuff because it is a regimen. And so I've still been doing it, but not 5 times a day like you're supposed to, the different stuff. And I've just gone back on it full time about 2 weeks ago and lost now 10 pounds. I'd lost 42, gained back a few. Now I'm still a little bit chubby, folks, but if you saw me, I'm going to do some before and after when I'm actually standing up, not squatting over here. I mean, look at my face. It's a huge difference what's happened. Aaron, in a year, 92 pounds, kept it off now for 6 months. Amazing, because he heard pharmacist Ben Fuchs and others and actually followed it. And, instead of eating that late night snack, takes their proprietary mix of essential fatty acids, the rest of it. If you go to InfoWarsTeam.com or InfoWarsHealth.com, in fact, we'll put that on screen for Prisonplanet.tv viewers, you can sign up to be a distributor for $10 and get big discounts. You can also sign up for auto ship and get free shipping. And it's not that hard to do, but if you're not very technical like me, sometimes you need to be walked through it. So there is a toll-free number there on the site so you can get auto ship. We're going to get more into the history here in a moment. But did you know you can get free shipping at InfoWarsHealth.com? The best results with these products come when you adhere to the regime. I wrote this, folks, with Richard Reeves. It's true. You've got to adhere to it. And it's all tastes good and it's great, but I mean, it's a full spectrum. Auto ship ensures your supplements are always available. Everybody should also store this stuff. You need to stockpile it. Longevity has one of the few auto ship programs that is versatile. They welcome, it's so versatile, that's why it gets confusing. They welcome customers to modify their product order each month. You can choose from 400 great products. The full catalog is at InfoWarsHealth.com. By starting your auto ship, not only will you be saving money, more importantly, you will be assuring that by having your daily regimen available, you will be able to better enjoy your health, vitality, and anti-aging for you and your family. For more information or to get help with your auto ship profile, send an email to Catherine at Infowars.com. That's Catherine at Infowars.com. I'm hiring some more customer service folks out of the ranks of distributors right now. Catherine at Infowars.com. That's linked at InfoWarsHealth.com. And it's got the Ben Fuchs interview up there and Aaron's 9-minute testimonial before and afters. It's all there at InfoWarsHealth.com. Now, we're going to break here in a few minutes, but what makes me angry is that I only promote what I believe in. And I've seen people like Ted Anderson's dad come back from not knowing who he is to knowing who he is and being able to go fishing in just a few months on just a few products like the essential fatty acids and the Beyond Tangy Tangerine and polymers and things.